Welcome into another episode from the Critics Collective. All right, I'm the Dad Panther, writer, streamer, content creator, master of none. I'm sitting here with the not so super fan Manny, and we are talking wrestling on the 1, 2, 3 count. And for today's episode of the 1, 2, 3 count, I don't want to say it's a loaded potato. We've had some loaded potatoes. This one I would say is a nice diced potato, maybe with some bacon, some cheese, sprinkled on top, give or take. We have a show that we're going to talk to you about. Kind of a throwback to champions over the past decades. We'll also talk about All Elite and their merging in partnership with the WWE, asterisk in a way. We'll talk about Dom, not his chicken nuggies, but we'll just talk about, hey, comparing him constantly always to Ray and Eddie. How do we look at Dom as the growth continues to belt Dom? And then we'll talk about the vision. Logan Paul, is he face? Is he a heel? What the fuck is happening with Paul and the rest of his crew? We'll talk about that. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and comment for more. Continue the discussion of wrestling in the comments, and we appreciate it as always. So with that being said, the first thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is this right here. Manny, explain to the universe what is this all about, allegedly?
So Cena, Brock, Randy, and CM Punk. They're right now. I was looking online. They're the only 4 wrestlers to have held 3 those the WWE Championship and the WWE Heavyweight Championship from 3 different decades, which is wild.
Yeah, it's impressive, and it shows that I'm getting old because I remember all these errors and how they looked, and then with John Cena walking away. And I looked at this immediately. I'm like, man, it's the Undertaker's out on here, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, the Reign of Fear. I don't know, but that's just what it is. That's just the rules. Now, we said that the reason why that came up is it came up because the conversation, and we've talked about it before in previous episodes of the 1, 2, 3 count. You're always going to have the word or the naming and the conversation of competition. WWE, WCW, ECW. We saw how that turned out, and now you have All Elite Wrestling basically going head to head constantly with the WWE, where it looks like some of them have changed their dates and changed their programming and what they're doing, but they're also trying to steal talent from each other and get talent before the other one knows about it and grow their own talent. And one of the things that you recently saw was Andrade's situation with the clause of, can you perform on another show? We saw him and he disappeared, I believe, because of contractual reasons. It's not the typical 60 or 90 days. I think it's a year for him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But it brought up the conversation of right now, past people from All Elite Wrestling now have championship goal, whether it's NXT or the major roster. Point blank, point blank. It is what it is. Manny, what's your thought of the alumni from All Elite being WWE All Elite gold wearers?
It's funny that all these guys came from All Elite, and now look at them. You remember that meme with Paul Rudd. Look at us. Just look at us. But in a way, it's kind of throwing a jab at AEW. But I'm happy that they just didn't, move these guys over to WWE and just to have them do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have Ethan Page again, what he's doing over at NXT is great. The mic work, the matches alone, he's been great. And now him teaming up with Chelsea.
Yep. They just won the championship. Yeah, I love it. And we talked about her getting a contract 5-year extension.
Yeah. Again, one of my top women wrestlers right now, Chelsea. And you also have Blake Monroe also doing great. Her whole gimmick, the whole persona, glam girl, great. But in the ring, she shows you that she could back it up, figuratively. But
now, if you're sitting there saying, I don't know why women have to wear what they're wearing, and Steffi V, look what she's wearing. Just look at it. That's why. That's why. Because there's an executive saying they're not buying merch, but they're not watching if their merch ain't out.
I watch it for the plot.
The plot is thick. You know what I'm saying?
But again, her as far as her performance in the ring, she's great. Great wrestler. It's not just the look, but she could throw down. Then you have Jade, who had that, that rough start. And like I said in the previous episode, I hope I said she had a rough start. Even though teaming up with Bianca kind of helped, which was obvious, they put her with Bianca to help her, as far as, but she did have, I would say, it wasn't quite of a great start as far as trying to push her as this solo wrestler to everybody. Um, CM Punk, with the whole issue with AEW, how he left, and the whole controversy with the whole fight. And come on, but of course Cody, who basically is one of the founders of that company, and now look at him now. He's literally the face of WWE in a way, but that is supposedly his story is not finished yet.
I don't know what his story is.
I don't know.
I'm not against it. I don't know what it is, and that's okay. That's okay to watch and see what it is. I don't know what it is. It's
then you Ricky Saint, who I believe is going to go to the main roster anytime soon now.
That's what I get it.
Him and Ethan Page, I believe, are going to be going to the main roster sometime soon. But again, Ricky Saint, great on the mic, and putting him and Trick beef right now, great. And I believe him working with Trick right now is going to elevate Trick Mike's skill, because lately Trick Williams, Mike's skill has gotten way better, and putting him with Ricky Saint, who has that experience, I think is just going to make these guys, other than I would say Jade, these guys are helping the upcomers, and not only with their mic skill, but their in ring work. So I think overall, bring these guys in has been a good payoff for WWE.
I don't know. I think, yes, it is good, but I think it's good on a different way. I'll play devil's advocate. It's the bitter girlfriend. It's the bitter husband. It's the bitter other person. I took your pieces and then I put belts on them. And what does that tell everybody? It doesn't tell the casual fan. It doesn't even really tell the hardcore fan. But the person who's looking at it from a business mindset, it's going to be easier when the contracts run out for All Elite, when I can have my agents say, well, if you come over here, we could probably put a belt on you, because they're not the only ones that's come over that's gotten a belt and been the main person basically immediately. So it's like, hey, you want to come over here? You want to go do this? Whether you're a young superstar or an older superstar. I know they're talking about bringing Jericho back or Edge if his contract ended, but it won't be in time for Cena. Point blank, I just take it as it's a business move. They're figuring some stuff out. Like I said before, I'm happy that Jade is the champion. I'm happy that she's heel, but she still has stuff to work on long term. That's just what it is. Monroe, that just similar to Tony Storm and how that gimmick played out, and we'll see, because a lot of people say, here goes another blonde diva. This is another blonde diva. You got Soul. You have so many that are in there. How do you make yourself stand out different long term? We'll find out. Ethan and Ricky, yeah, they are a talent, and we'll see what happens. But Cena's got to go, and Randy's got to go, and all these other people not go in the sense of not being on, but they need to start that transition. Like we looked at that list of every decade, and yeah, you have those pieces that were in there, but you also had some young talent that came up in that mix as well. So I'm not going to go through the full lineup of everybody, but I just think it's business, and it goes to also the superstar. Cody and some of them, I believe, came in. Monet is one of them at All Elite that does it. You've built enough of your person business-wise that you can go ahead and say, hey, look, I'm going to do this on my term. This is the story that I want. I want XYZ done on this date and this for my contract, or you got to pay me. And that might be what we're seeing with some of this. And there's nothing wrong with it. Now, moving on to another conversation piece, let's go ahead and talk about Logan Paul. So Logan Paul is basically at this point, with the vision, I don't have much to say about this. What you got, man? What you got?
So I don't know if they were trying that during their Monday Night Raw segment, or they pivot during the show. It looked like they were trying to push Logan to be a face during that show. and it looked like the crowd was not buying it. It's just something about Logan that it just brings out the the anger and the hate towards him. Again, the guy is phenomenal in the ring. He it shows that he's one of the celebrities that come to WWE and puts in the work when it comes to his ring work. But for some reason, I think he's as a heel, it works because the natural hate is there, and it just seems like they were gonna try to have him do that face run because I believe that like as you said, it's not Triple H, it's the shareholder that's making the decision, and I feel like they're probably gonna try to put a belt like a main title belt on him other than the WWE or
They got they got
I'm
to figure
just
some out. I
I'm
just
just
think it's
saying.
ridiculous at this point. It's
I think it's
ridiculous.
gonna happen, because I think they truly believe that Logan Paul has that social media presence that he could bring, but I don't think he does that because I don't think he's that popular to bring people towards the WWE like that. Cause, but again, you cannot devalue his ring work, his performance in there is great, but his
I would go different though. I would think he is that person you can put a main championship belt on, whether or not you want to see if he's earned it in the back for the locker or if he's not that guy. Because the conversation is Braun is that guy. Braun is going to be the next Brock Lesnar. He's going to be fast tracked to be a champion and do some things. But I think he's not liked because it's organic. I've said it multiple times throughout certain episodes. Consumers that us, we pay to watch this, go spend merch money, whatever. We make it not based off of facts. It's an emotional connection. Everybody we spend some money on is an emotional connection. There's something about four letters, one word, ye is an emotion that goes with it. With Logan Paul, motherfuckers don't like him because there's an emotional connection. Your kid knows who he is. You know who he is. You know who his brother is in the boxing and that goes with that. So you already don't like this person in real life. So him coming off as a face works. You don't have to turn off an off switch. I mean, honestly, he's probably one of the wrestlers that we know better because of that emotional attachment. The other one I can think about is Dom. So I think that's what it is. And like, why make him a face? You're just going to be saying in your head, he's going to turn at some point. So I have no problem with him being a heel, carrying the championship belt. And unlike you, I think that he is important to bring butts to the seat and change the scale, similar to Bad Bunny showing up against Damon Priest because of the fact of his social media presence. And you think about his brand when wrestling gets turned off. Think about the sponsorships we've had for his energy drinks. Think about the ads that we've had. Think about the other content creators that have shown up to wrestling events because he has opened the door. When the door used to be celebrities and football or sports celebrities back in the day, it has shifted where it's now you're putting content creators and podcast people in the seats in the ring and you're working with them. So my only problem with this whole thing is the vision is not the four horsemen. It's not evolution. I don't know what it is, honestly. And I hope it goes away.
No, I agree with you. Maybe, him winning the belt with that emotional aspect of it, people will hate watch just to see if he's ever gonna lose it. Imagine that. I know he it would irritate people so much just to hear him every week on the mic how he's a champion and how he built our favorite wrestler and nobody could beat him just to
And I think it's
everybody.
great. I think we need to do that. And then Roman Reigns beats him. And I think that's how it should go. And with that being said, the last topic, and we're going to get out of here, hit the subscribe button, like, follow for more. We're going to talk about Dom. I know we mentioned it earlier, but Dom is young as well. And he is having a run. He's 2-belt Dom. And just him being where he's at now, the question that we're just going to ask or conversate about is Dom ready to be that guy, that top guy, and hold championship belt, or is there still more time for Dom to hold those mid card belts and keep working?
I think he is ready. No hesitation. I think he's ready. Um, it's again, he's one of those guys where it's organically the crowd don't care if he cheats. They love it. They cheer him when he cheats. He's definitely uh uh has that Eddie Guerrero persona, and he
But it
has
goes
this.
back to what I said. It's the reason why I think he's over and it's organic is it's an emotional connection. You're a fan of Rey Mysterio. You're a fan of Eddie Guerrero. You're a fan of what those two did in their career and who they wrestled. And here goes Dom with his storyline, and it connects to you because you don't care how he's cheating. You don't care because, like, when you watch the last match where he took there's two things that Dom did in that match at Saturday Night Main Event that was amazing to me as a person who likes the psychological idea of wrestling, not just the moves, the idea of the story. When he got in the ring, Dom was against two bigger people and him looking over his shoulder, he needed to get to the corner of the ring and he just kept like he was in an alley and he was scared for his life. And he did that. And he looked over and he really quickly went up to the other side of the ring and he just kind of chilled for a bit before the match started. He didn't trust anybody. And I like that because some wrestlers, whether they're a heel or a face, they forget. They come in, they get on the turnbuckle and they do their thing. And I'm like, but you don't like that person or whatever. And then the other thing was, and it shows the emotional versus the factual. When he took the bell and the bell went off, bing, and he's just sitting there, people are like, why is Dom sitting there? He's such a bad guy. They didn't realize what he did. They had to hold the camera on him for a bit for the audience to realize he hit the bell. And Dom, So now it's the smart part. Sometimes a heel does some shit, like when Eddie would do it first, when he did the chair toss. It was like really the first time we've seen it. It might have been done on the indie scene, but it's really one of the first times we've seen it. So to us, it was like, oh shit, that's smart. That's fucking smart. Now we've seen it and it's not smart anymore. It's an emotional connection. So to me, I think he's not ready for the championship belt because I don't think there's a place for him. The WWE is still figuring stuff out. I do think we will see him with some championships in the future, but I am entertained with him being the workhorse with the prestigious Intercontinental Championship belt and the AAA Championship belt. So I would love to see him in this role a little bit more.
No, he's look how much he's over, not being Rhea Ripley's. I don't know what it was though. Okay, it felt like she was torturing this guy. But even Monday Night Raw when he was talking to Ray and Ray brought up Eddie Guerrero, he was like, "Keep my father's name out your mouth," which had the crowd going livid. So you might be right. He's not ready to be the top guy yet, but I think he has that future Hall of Famer thing going right now. So I think he's definitely going to be one of those guys when we get older, we're going to tell our kids about, and he's going to be one of those guys, a legend, definitely.
All right. Well, like I said before, somewhat of a loaded potato on the skillet, house fries, however you want to call it, on the 1, 2, 3 count. Hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and comment for more. We greatly appreciate you being a part of our show as always, and continue the discussion in the comments. You could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here, and we greatly appreciate that. Until next time, see you later.
Shit, I'ma get into it first. Until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it.